The world outside your window is hushed. A soft gray blanket has been drawn across the sky. The only sound is the gentle, steady rhythm of the rain, a soothing patter against the glass, a lullaby of droplets, each one a tiny promise of peace, inviting you to let go, to release the day, and to drift away on a cozy adventure. And this is the story of a little bear named Auggie. On a very special autumn day, much like this one, Auggie lived in a small, warm burrow nestled between the roots of a great, grandfatherly oak tree. The walls of his home were packed earth, smooth and cool to the touch, and they always smelled wonderfully of cinnamon and old books. Today, the world outside his round little door was a symphony of gray and gold. The rain fell not in a furious downpour, but in a gentle, persistent whisper, the kind of rain that washes the world clean and paints the air with the scent of wet earth and decaying leaves, the scent of petrichor. Augie was curled in his favorite armchair, a large worn thing stuffed with goose feathers and draped with a quilt his grandmother had stitched for him. It was a patchwork of autumn itself. Squares of deep burgundy, goldenrod yellow, burnt orange, and soft brown flannel. He was reading a book, but his eyes were growing heavy. The pitter-patter on the oak leaves above was a drowsy drumbeat, and the warm glow from his hearth made the shadows in his burrow dance a slow, sleepy waltz. Just as his eyelids were about to flutter shut, a soft rustling sound came from the corner of his room. It wasn't the rain. It was a quieter, drier sound. Augie blinked and looked over. There, perched on his wooden stool, was a small, delicate creature with wings like folded autumn leaves. It was a sylph, a spirit of the gentle winds and the turning seasons. Her name was Elara, and she shimmered with a faint golden light. "Hello, Augie," she whispered, her voice like the rustle of 1,000 leaves. "Elara," Augie said, his voice soft with sleep. "What brings you out on such a rainy day?" "The rain is the perfect time for an adventure," she chimed. "The best adventures are quiet ones. The world is slow and soft. The loud streams are busy rushing. The boisterous birds are tucked away. It is the time for listeners, for noticers. Would you like to come with me?" Augie didn't need to be asked twice. He loved the rain. He pulled on his warmest, driest sweater, a thick cable knit one the color of chestnuts, and his little yellow boots. With a deep, happy sigh, he opened his round wooden door and stepped out into the damp, glorious autumn afternoon. The forest was transformed. The rain fell in a fine mist, veiling the trees in a soft, dreamlike haze. Every leaf, every needle, every blade of grass was bejeweled with droplets of water. The world wasn't dark. It was simply resting, its colors deepened and enriched. The greens of the mosses were almost impossibly emerald. The yellows of the birch leaves glowed like captured sunlight, and the reds of the maples were a deep, winey crimson. So, feel the cool, fresh air on your face. A clean, damp breath. Hear the gentle drip, drip from the pine needles. A peaceful, random rhythm. Smell the wet earth, the pine, the sweet decay of fallen leaves. It is the scent of nature dreaming. Elara fluttered ahead, tiny lantern in the gray, her light glinting off the wet bark and shimmering puddles. Augie followed, his boots making soft, squelching sounds in the muddy path. He didn't jump in the puddles, not today. Today was for quiet observation. Their first stop was at the base of a giant, ancient pine tree. Its bark was thick and furrowed like the skin of a wise old man, and in one of those deep furrows, a tiny stream of water was trickling down, carving a miniature river through a landscape of moss and lichen. "Look closely," Elara whispered, landing on a nearby fern. Augie knelt down, the wet earth soaking pleasantly through the knees of his trousers. He peered into the miniature world. The trickle of water was a mighty river, tumbling over tiny twigs and pebbles. A ladybug, its shell a brilliant, polished red, was clinging to a blade of grass, using it as a makeshift umbrella. A colony of ants had taken shelter under a curled piece of birch bark, their antennae twitching as they waited for the rain to pass. Water droplets clung to the intricate webs of funnel spiders, making them look like necklaces of crystal beads. So it was an entire world, a bustling city, happening right at his feet. A world he would have missed on a sunny, noisy day. He watched mesmerized as the tiny river flowed, a steady, gentle stream, washing over the moss, which drank it in, becoming lush and green and soft. Imagine the feeling of that cool, clean water, washing over the soft, velvety moss, nourishing it, feeding it, a silent, gentle gift from the sky. After a long, peaceful while, Augie stood up, his joints creaking softly. He gave a contented sigh and followed Elara deeper into the forest. The path led them to a small wooden bridge that arched over a usually chatty stream. Today, the stream was not chatty. It was a deep, murmuring bass, swollen with rainwater. It churned and swirled, carrying fallen leaves on its brown surface like little boats on a wild journey. They stood on the bridge, watching the water flow beneath them. The sound was powerful, yet deeply soothing, a constant, rushing roar that filled the ears and pushed all other thoughts away. Zaggy leaned on the damp wooden railing, feeling the vibration of the water through the plank. He watched a single perfect yellow leaf, shaped like a heart, get caught in an eddy. It spun round and round, a golden dancer in a watery ballet, before being released to continue its journey downstream, out of sight. Listen to the deep, resonant rush of the water, a constant, powerful sound that washes away tension, carrying your thoughts away with the current, downstream, far, far away. Ilara fluttered down and sat on the railing next to him. The water is in no hurry, she said softly. It is simply going where it needs to go. There is no struggle, just flow. Auggie nodded, understanding. He took a deep breath and imagined his own thoughts as leaves on that water, watching them drift and spin and float away. Leaving his mind quiet and still and open, they left the bridge and its powerful music behind, walking now into a grove of oak trees. Here the rain was softer, the canopy so thick that only a fine mist drifted down. The ground was a thick carpet of oak leaves, damp and springy underfoot. The air was filled with a rich, loamy scent, and then they heard it. A soft, melodic plink, plonk, plink. It was a different sound from the rain. It was clearer, more musical. Ilara led Auggie towards the source. It was a large, flat stone, dark with water, with a small, perfect depression in its center. And in that depression, a tiny pool of rainwater had collected. Drops fell from the tip of a single long oak leaf above, landing directly in the center of the miniature pool. Plink, a perfect, clear note. A tiny ripple would spread out from the center, a perfect circle, until it gently lapped against the edges of the stone pool and disappeared. Plonk, another drop, another circle, another soft musical tone. It was the most peaceful sound Auggie had ever heard. He sat down on a dry, mossy log nearby, completely captivated. He didn't try to think. He didn't try to do anything. He just listened. He watched the drops form on the leaf, gather weight, and finally let go, falling with perfect trust into the pool below. Plink. Let go of the day, plonk. Let go of a worry, plink. Let go of a thought. Each drop was a release. Each ripple was a sigh of relief, spreading out and then vanishing into perfect calm. His breathing began to slow to match the gentle, sporadic rhythm of the drops. His shoulders relaxed. His paws, which he hadn't realized were curled, unfolded and rested softly on his knees. Just listen to the plink, plonk of the water, a natural metronome for peace, each drop a tiny bell ringing in a moment of stillness. He didn't know how long he sat there. It could have been minutes. It could have been an hour. In this rainy, timeless world, it didn't matter. Ilara sat silently beside him, her gentle light pulsing softly in time with his breathing. Finally, as the gray light of the afternoon began to deepen into the lavender of early evening, Auggie stirred. He felt incredibly calm and deeply rested, as if he had just woken from the most refreshing nap of his life. The adventure was coming to an end. Ilara fluttered up. "It's time to go home, Auggie," he nodded, a soft smile on his face. The walk back was quiet. The rain was beginning to slow, fading from a steady patter to an occasional lazy drip. The world was fresh and clean, gleaming in the twilight. They reached his burrow, and the warm golden light spilling from his window looked like a hug after a long, soft day. "Thank you, Ilara," Auggie whispered, his voice thick with sleep, "for the quietest, most wonderful adventure." "It is always there," she whispered back. "You just have to step outside and listen." And with a final rustle of her leaf-like wings, she vanished into the deepening dusk. Auggie pushed open his round door and stepped inside. The warmth of his burrow enveloped him like a favorite blanket. He took off his damp sweater and his yellow boots, leaving them by the door. The fire in the hearth had burned down to a bed of glowing, crimson embers that pulsed gently, like a sleeping heart. He didn't need to add another log. He pulled his grandmother's quilt from the armchair and wrapped it around his shoulders. He moved to his small, cozy bed, nestled in a nook in the wall, and crawled under the heavy, soft blankets. He could still hear the gentle drip, drip, drip from the oak tree outside his window. It was a familiar, comforting sound now, a reminder of his adventure, a lullaby from the forest. He curled up, the quilt snug around him, and closed his eyes. In his mind, he was back on the bridge, watching the leaf spin in the current. He was kneeling by the tiny river in the pine bark. He was listening to the plonk on the stone. His breathing grew slower and deeper and out. The gentle sound of the last of the rain mingled with the soft crackle of the embers, and out. The weight of the quilt was so comforting, so safe, so warm in and out. His thoughts had all floated away like leaves on the stream, carried far, far away, leaving nothing but quiet and stillness and peace. You are now back in your own warm, soft bed. The adventure is over. The journey is complete. All that is left is the gentle, soothing sound of the rain and the deep, comforting darkness behind your eyelids. Your body is heavy and relaxed, sinking into the mattress, supported completely from the tips of your toes. Feel a wave of deep relaxation, a warm, heavy comfort spreading slowly upward. Your feet are soft and heavy, completely at rest. The warmth moves into your ankles, your calves, all the muscles softening, letting go, melting into the bed, up into your knees, your thighs, a deep, heavy, pleasant weight. You are so comfortable, so supported. The relaxation flows into your hips, your lower back. Any tension there simply dissolves, washed away by the memory of the gentle stream. Your stomach and chest are soft, rising and falling with each slow, easy breath, and out the warmth spreads down your arms to your elbows. Your wrists, your hands, your fingers, they feel so heavy, so still, so peaceful. A wave of deep relaxation moves into your shoulders, your neck, all the weight of the day, all the cares simply melting away, draining down into the bed, and finally the warmth and heaviness reaches your face. Your jaw is loose, your cheeks are soft, your eyelids are so heavy, so comfortable they would not open even if you wanted them to. Your entire body is now immersed in a deep, heavy, peaceful relaxation. You are safe, you are warm, you are deeply, deeply comfortable. The only sound is the soft, fading whisper of the rain and the gentle rhythm of your own breathing and the quiet, steady beat of your heart. You are drifting, floating on a soft and dark sea of tranquility, deeper and deeper. You go into the deepest, most restorative sleep, where dreams are soft and memories are sweet. You are now asleep. Good night.